Good evening, fellow ghouls and specters alike. It's your ghost host with the most, Tiki here.
And Blue Dragon 5, here to engage in some haunted holiday hijinks by trudging through the catacombs and dusting off the cobwebs to recount a spooky selection of Halloween classics.
So light the jack-o'-lantern, suit up, and grab the candy dish as we revive and recount tonight's spooky selection. Hey Arnold, Sid, the Vampire Slayer. I want to suck your blood.
That really bites, Arnold.
I reckon that lady should have worn a turtleneck.
I really bite, Arnold. Or
All
does
right,
he?
all right. So, Dragon, I'll admit, we've kind of gone through all of the outwardly creepy Hey Arnold episodes, and this is now make no mistake. I think there are definitely a couple psychologically scary ones that we could tackle if we're desperate.
Okay,
I
look,
don't want to
this
have
is
that
the
debate.
last official one. Beyond that, you have like the ones where you're getting really desperate.
Right, right. I still think the Emily Dickinson one is
I
like
think
that
you're
is.
crazy. I think you're out of your mind with that. I really do. It's
We'll
just a
see.
statue.
Yeah, it's a creepy as fuck statue.
She brought it on herself. She cheated.
Yeah, it's a morality tale.
Yeah.
All right, so this one though, Dragon, this is I remember as a kid, season 5 of Hey Arnold, it's very hit or miss. There's some very good episodes in there, but I feel like we can all agree that a good chunk of the season 5 episodes just really aren't that up to par compared to the rest of the series. Not all of them. Like I said, there's some gems in there, but we've also got easily some of the worst episodes of the bunch. So this was always like, this was always kind of the one. It was like definitely the outlier of, obviously the spooky episodes were my favorites. I think that's pretty much a lot of people's experience with Hey Arnold. But this one was kind of just like, all right, it's another Sid gets paranoid episode, but it's got a stupid vampire theme. I was never a fan of it. And Dragon, I gotta tell you, rewatching it, I mean, this isn't like weird for Hey Arnold or anything. It's very much on brand with Hey Arnold as a show, but my God, the comedic timing in this episode is so on point. I laughed my ass off at this episode. I really did. I was surprised how funny I found it. I really like this. This might not be like the top tier Sid gets paranoid episode, but it's up there. It might be the funniest one. Um, so yeah, I was very pleasantly surprised by this, Dragon. I was really kind of going in expecting it to just kind of be but I mean it's not scary in the slightest, but I definitely got more than a few good laughs out of it.
Yeah, not the top tier of the very creepy Hey Arnold episodes, to put it like that.
It's not
But
even in the B tier of creepy. Yeah.
true, or very creepy. Yeah, but it's it's kind of the classic archetype of the misunderstanding episode, or again, the better way of putting it, per the Sid of it all. The Sid gets paranoid episode, which I mean, off the top of my head, I think there's like at least three biggies with that. You have Sid becomes a germaphobe, Sid has voodooed Principal Warts, and
Right, right.
well, Sid, I think believe he kills Principal. I forget if he just thought he outright murdered Principal Warts with the
I
voodoo
think
doll, if I
it's been a
recall. Yeah,
while
so
since
it's
I've
like
seen it, but it's something like that.
I
Yeah.
remember he carved that soap Principal Warts, and
Right.
it's really impressive, really good craftsmanship. Whittling could be in the boy's future, but clearly it's not. So
That was the one where at the end it's revealed that he was going to a disco or something, right?
I don't
Something
know
like
if it
that.
was I don't know if it was disco or not, because we know he likes disco. I don't know if that
Uh-huh.
was what it was. He was away during something,
Yeah,
but
because he was like away for like a disco tournament or something
well, it's
silly
either
like
that or he
that.
hurt himself. I know he hurt himself at some
Right.
point in the episode. I don't know if that was it, but regardless, he was away for certain reasons. Regardless, Yeah, my point is it's the classic archetype of that sort of thing, and obviously, we have some great Dracula throwbacks to not even like the classic Lugosi Dracula. I'm just saying some like like the true blue Dracula. I'm talking like Hammer horror Dracula, that sort of stuff.
How
Like the
dare
like
you
the
not call Lugosi the true blue Dracula, sir?
no no sorry, what I meant was what I mean is like a deep cut guy who like knows all his Dracula. I'm not saying I'm one of them. I'm just saying like the deep cut horror fans like everyone their mother knows
The
Lugosi.
James Rolfes of the world.
Yes, exactly. James
Uh-huh.
Rolfes of the world. Like everyone and their mother, you, I, everyone, we all know that the Dracula is Bela Lugosi. No question. But I'm saying the people are really worth their salt in the horror community of such. They're going to cite like all sorts of Draculas, like the Frank Langella Draculas, and the more impressively, and the Christopher Lee Draculas. Like to them, that's their real Dracula. The Gary Oldmans
My
and
Dracula
such.
is the lame Netflix Dracula. Thank you very much.
So you see my point.
Yeah, yeah.
Anyway, so yeah, no. The other thing too, I want to highlight too, reflecting on Hey Arnold as we are wont to do, Stinky very much. I think the key to why the episode's entertaining as it is. Stinky. I think
Stinky is such a damn good character.
Stinky. Honestly, when you really think about it, when you look back in the episode, it's kind of occurred to me. Stinky was such a slam dunk of a character. You could honestly read the phone book after. I think Stinky's only had one iffy episode in all of Hey Arnold. To my recollection, it was the one where he's in love with Helga. And it's not that's
Yeah,
not a
yeah.
bad episode, just in the performance. Like Stinky is like after that episode, he gets refined. Okay, we know what we're doing with Stinky. Stinky could read the phone book and it'd be great.
Right.
We got some pathos with the pumpkin episodes, and Stinky becoming the soda model. Those you have those episodes. Basically, you can coast along after that point because we like Stinky, and then he has like the best line, almost like Rex from Toy Story in a sense. We give him the great lines. So so by that, we're making him making him a vampire, and this making that beloved character a vampire. It's gold to the other constant, which is a paranoid Sid. So just
What I like
works
about
really
this
well.
episode and why I find it so funny is that, like, in contrast to some of the other Paranoid Sid episodes, it's like the misunderstandings in this are so ridiculous and fucking stupid.
Oh yeah, oh for sure. There's one in
that
particular that just cracks me up.
they just get progressively more ridiculous.
So like just the Arnold characters, just like putting them in this comedy of horrific errors in that kind of that story of like just the comedy of errors story, but with a horror theme. It just fits really well.
Uh-huh. All right.
Yeah.
So, any background on this, or you want to just jump
I
in?
mean, there's some animation errors I'll point out as we go
Fair
along.
enough.
So.
All right, so we go to the movie theater.
Yes, so Arnold, Stinky, and Sid, they're at the movies. They're watching vampires everywhere.
it's literally like the most generic vampire movie ever.
So this essentially is kind of a takeoff on the Hammer horror Dracula films, pretty much. A little bit of Lugosi thrown in there at the top, just in terms of like, I want to, the whole misnomer of I want to suck your blood, which he never says.
No, never.
Anyway, it's kind of like for Hotel Transylvania fans out there, it's sort of like the blah, blah, blah. I don't say blah, blah, blah. So we have a very we kind of have our setup for the paranoia where we see in the recreation of the Hammer horror Dracula, we have a long-faced vampire with bears a striking resemblance to Stinky in the right context. If you think about it, and we foreshadow the third act of the episode here with there's a checklist, no reflection, got a cape, got fangs, and it goes for the bite, and we go for kind of the haunting kind of like close up on the bite. So Arnold and Stinky, they love it. Again, we're having some like, oh, she should have worn a turtleneck, wouldn't you say, Arnold?
I like when we cut to Sid at first, it seems like he's into it.
He's entrenched in it, but maybe a little too entrenched, as we see Sid's rather on the edge of his seat than liking it ironically. So then we have Van Helsing, who basically Sid will be stepping into the role of Van Helsing, hence the title. Also kind of a nod to Buffy the Vampire Slayer, but let's focus on the Van Helsing. So we have
honestly, Dragon, I think the title is probably the reason why I didn't care for this episode as a kid. Because it's like I feel like most, if not all, Hey Arnold episodes, like they lean away from pop culture references just in general. And I mean, this one really doesn't have any Buffy references in the actual episode itself.
No, not at all.
But that title alone is just like, oh, really? Like, I feel like that title alone is like maybe one of the most blatant pop culture references. I mean, besides stuff like Rats.
Pretty much.
You hear my grandma vacuuming in the background, by the way. I might have to mute myself for a minute.
I didn't know what that was. I mean, it's not really distracting.
Go ahead and describe the episode. I'll mute myself for a minute.
All right.
She should be done. It's just she should be done soon. It's just a hand vacuum. So go ahead.
All right. Okay. So again, Sid kind of preparing for Sid for the Van Helsing role. We have a Van Helsing who's modeled after Peter Cushing from the Hammer horror films, I believe. Of course, Peter Cushing, the Grand Moff Tarkin, that guy, Cushing. So, we set up basically Van Helsing, very anti-Dracula. He kind of sets up what kills a vampire and basically tries to rally the angry villagers, as you like to do in the old school horror films. Like, expose them to, there's a vulnerability to sunlight. Garlic has a bloodlust. Beware of the bloodlust, essentially. And he makes the plea of the town and this is, I want to talk about, to eliminate the vampires. So, in animation, particularly in the 90s, particularly. I know we're kind of at this point here, we're kind of we're officially in the 2000s. Really, we hit the millennium, so to speak. But so it's so weird how vampires work in animation. Because you look at Spider-Man the animated series on Fox, they have Morbius the vampire, and yet he can't say blood. He has I need to suck plasma, and he can't do it through his fangs. He has to do it through these little suckers in his hands. So we nerfed the vampire ridiculously in that, and we can't say kill the vampire even though it's not a real person.
Eliminate it.
We got to eliminate the vampire. So. And that's the thing, like Batman the Animated Series, they tried to have a vampire villain on for an episode, and they couldn't get away with it because standards and practices, as much leeway as Batman the Animated Series had. So vampires have always been a tricky thing to do in animation, so it's so odd that we do go really far in places with this when we see like a woman being drained of blood in a kid's cartoon, which again we framed correctly and we got away with it, but so many other times we're getting a little little trepidatious to do so. So yeah. Anyway, I want to point this out to you. So I don't have much on the episode in terms of background, but I wonder if you noticed something. So in animation, especially in the Amblin works, not that this is one of them, but just for an example, they have something called a model dump, where we take all the models from other.
I know exactly what you're talking about. The Simpsons did it all the time.
Yes, we reuse kind of models because we need to populate the scenes, and we don't have to create new characters or go through that whole process. And it happens in all sorts of animated things.
That's pretty much why the Simpsons cast got as fleshed out as it did, is because they pretty much gave personalities to every single one of them.
I remember Family Guy back before it abandoned all hope. Family Guy, they had a board, like a bulletin board, where they basically kind of post pictures of the characters that are dead that they can't use again. Otherwise, it's going to cause wait a minute, that character died in the joke. So we can't bring back unless we do a flashback. That sort of stuff.
Okay, anyway, I'm sorry. Which characters have actually died
on Family Guy?
Yeah.
Well, remember, there was a whole episode, and then there were fewer, where they killed off a whole bunch of characters. So, I mean, they've killed I think his name is Patty, like Peter's, Brian's boss when he became the patriarch of the family. You want to fight about it? That guy, he died. Muriel, Mort Goldman's wife, also died.
I remember that.
I mean, look, there Diane from Tom Tucker.
Yeah, I remember that. Yeah,
that's what I'm saying. There are a number of characters who, so that sort of thing. I don't want to recount them all.
It's Brian for
temporarily, yes, for some reason, because we need ratings, I guess, and we need. I setting for one to voice one less character for a while, I guess. Anyway, so the model dump in this case, you'll notice Arnold's teacher from the episode, where Julia Louis-Dreyfus played the teacher I had a crush on. She's in the movie theater. We have Wolfgang. He's in the episode.
I did notice Wolfgang, yeah.
So I don't mind putting those characters in the movie theater per se, but here's one that's really off the mark, okay? If you look at the angry villagers in the movie, we literally just pulled Hey Arnold characters.
Oh, no.
We have we have the unibrowed guy with always that lip sticking out gesture.
Yeah,
but the big one though, that's if you really know the show, you're gonna realize that. Here's one that really sticks out. Ernie is one of the villagers.
Oh, I totally didn't realize this.
So that kind of sticks out. Like, Ernie, what?
Oh, now I see it. Oh my god, yeah.
Right? So that so if you really think about it, yeah, Ernie should not be in the movie.
I mean, eyebrow guy, I think is fine because I
Yeah,
feel like he's kind of like he's kind of like some of the SpongeBob side
yeah,
characters where he
exactly.
kind of like
That's the my leg guy.
right, right, exactly.
This is a
But like
stock
Ernie is
character.
just yeah, he just stands out like a sore. I'm looking at a shot of it right now.
That's what I'm saying. You have your stock characters, which are fine. Then you have your characters where, okay, we actually dedicate episodes to these characters, like Arnold's
Right.
teacher. I don't know, but she can see a movie like anyone else. I don't see why we should berate her for that. So
Well, no,
anyway,
it's just the fact like did like that kind of like raises the question like wait, does Ernie have a secret acting career we don't know about?
yeah. I mean, is construction just kind of like a day job, so he can
Right,
pursue the real
right.
passion? Is like anyway, okay. Or does Danny DeVito just transform when he appears in
Oh my
things at
god.
times?
Danny DeVito was cast in the new Haunted Mansion movie, and I'm really excited about that.
Wait, we're still doing that?
Yeah, not with Guillermo del Toro, but
I know that. That's why I'm doubting it. We're still doing the Haunted Mansion movie.
we are still doing a Haunted Mansion movie. So far I have not been excited about most of what I've heard about it, but
Can
Danny
you
DeVito
imagine if
casting
that
is very
movie?
solid.
Imagine if that movie comes out and the best version of it is the Muppets Haunted Mansion.
Oh, the Dragon, that's a distinct possibility.
I'm gonna say, like, we've had we're gonna have like at least 3 stabs at the Haunted Mansion in kind of an adaptation of some sort, and just, like, the Muppets is gonna be the best one to effect,
And then
though.
there's a comic adaptation too.
Well, fine. I haven't read that, but anyway.
I mean, honestly, that one might be the best one just because
All right,
it
fine.
actually fleshes out all the ghosts.
Well, fine. I mean, in terms of on screen.
Like, honestly, the movie, if the movie just copied the comic, I'd be totally fine, but it's
Yeah,
not
but
going to.
Hollywood. Well, we all know
It's
Hollywood
literally
forgot
going
how.
to be another, like, oh, it's a modern day family that goes to the mansion, and that's the element I'm not crazy about, is
Tiki,
the
if we
modern
learned
day element.
anything, it's that Hollywood has forgotten how to read.
I mean, I don't know.
Okay.
I just think a Haunted Mansion movie would be so much better if it was just a period piece. Like, that's literally the one thing that you can do to just make it a way better movie, and they just refuse to do it. But I digress.
Anywho, back to the episode. So
Yes.
Arnold and Stinky, they had a ball with the movie, and they're planning out the rest of their day. Like, you want to go to the arcade, get some ice cream, baseball, all of the above. That sounds like a great day. And meanwhile, Sid, he's having some trouble shaking off the movie.
Yeah, I love that optimism, by the way, of just like, where should we go? Baseball? Get an ice cream cone? Like, basically, like, all things that kids today don't do. Basically, the conversation kids today would have is like, what should we do? Play some Xbox Live? Do some Snapchat? Do a TikTok challenge?
I'm down for 2 out of 3 of the things that they've listed. Okay, I ain't doing any baseball, but I'm down for the ice cream in the arcade.
Well, I think the baseball's very wholesome, though.
No, it's tremendously wholesome. I'm just saying, I would not have any part of that. I'm
All right,
allergic
really
to
quick, I
sports.
got a shout out to Tom Beast in the comments.
Yes.
He says, if Sid is in the top 10 Hey Arnold drama queens, Sid would be 4th behind Helga, Olga, and Curly.
Yeah, Curly. Oh boy.
Yeah, Curly's. Yeah, he's pretty
I mean,
extreme.
what
Yeah.
honestly, possibly Curly's best episode is him being the drama queen. That episode, one of my favorite Hey Arnold episodes. I assume it made it onto the list when we did that list way back when. Was the
I would
hostage
maybe say
episode?
Sid is more of a drama queen than Helga in some regards.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, not
It
as much
kind
as
of
Olga
depends
though.
on. It kind of depends on the situation, honestly.
Olga got a B and she fell into a deep depression. That's a drama.
Oh yeah,
queen.
Olga, no question. Yeah.
So Olga definitely is like, she's above Helga, and Curly though.
Yeah.
Here's the thing: one of my favorite things, Curly, is that he took took people hostage over putting away the dodgeballs.
Oh my god! Right.
Seriously, that episode is so great. It's so ridiculous yet so intense. It's it's like we adapted the Negotiator for Hey Arnold with playground equipment.
All right.
All right.
That was probably the closest that Hey Arnold ever got to recess.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah.
Okay, so Sid, of course, he's like, the comedy timing just starts right away. He's like, "Oh, sorry guys, I got to get home before it gets dark," and then it's just like it's 3:30.
So Arnold's deadpan delivery. Arnold very much in the Bud Abbott role. This basically, if Sid's kind of the not to the same effectiveness, but if he's the Lou Costello, so to speak, and that he's just taking it at face value and he's freaking out. Arnold very much the straight man as he tends to be. So just like
Arnold's
it's
reactions
3:30.
are definitely like one of the comedic high points of the episode for sure.
Oh, for sure. Okay, so then this is not helping Stinky's case for later, but he's now mocking the
Why are
scaredy
you
cat.
hanging out with me then, Sid? On account of I'm a vampire and I want to suck your blood?
I could be a vampire.
I feel like my sinuses actually help out the stinky voice.
Yeah,
All right,
maybe.
anyways.
All right, okay, so besides, everyone knows vampires ain't real.
I love how Stinky is just being like the most level headed and calm and nice kid about the whole thing.
Of course. So let's see. So Sid, he's not taking any chances. He runs on home. Who knew he was such a scaredy cat? So we have our big nightmare sequence.
Oh my god.
So
First of all, I love the design of Sid's room. Like we rarely see it, but I love how it's like Sid with very few scenes of him in his actual home life. Like we paint a picture that his home life is not great.
like the last time we really you're right though. So here's the thing. Here's what we've seen in Hey Arnold in regards to Sid's room.
Uh-huh.
So we two episodes spring to mind. One with the whole paranoia thing. When he was the germaphobe and had the frog, we saw his room then. It was like we saw kind of the clean version of his room though, where he boarded up everything, got rid of everything that could be contaminated. Which was quite eerie, but we know Sid is quite ashamed of his room when he wanted to have, I believe, Lorenzo over,
Oh my god, that's right.
and he
Yeah.
had to pretend that Arnold's bachelor pad essentially
That was definitely an episode that touched on his it kind of like, it didn't really get into detail, but it was definitely like, yeah, his home life is not the best.
Yeah, I afraid it's been so long. Looking back at this episode, just we get a really good look at the room here. It's like, yeah, his room is really cruddy and run down. It's a really it's a cruddy apartment, which is
Uh-huh.
realistic. Some of these kids will not have like the swanky, like a swanky room like Arnold has, and and kind of a kind of
And
a
then I
historic
really love
boarding
how
house.
homey and country Stinky's house is, but we'll get into that. I mean, we see
Yeah,
that more than we see Sid's house,
like the
but
pumpkin episode for sure. Like,
yeah,
yeah, we've
yeah.
been to Stinky's place. Yeah, so he's like, again, it's
I
like a
still
piece
love the
of.
design of it though.
Yeah, no, oh, it's great. I agree. Yeah.
All right.
All right, anyway, so we're in Sid's room. We basically he drifts to sleep, and we have the big nightmare sequence where we replicate the opening of the movie. Only
I want to
Stinky.
suck your blood.
Yep. And again, there is like an
The
element of
funniest thing to me about this is how Stinky just kind of like floats along, like floats down the staircase.
oh yeah, yep. And I just love he's like all smiles with the teeth though. Just like, and yeah, I like the scary notion of like you're getting killed by your buddy. That is quite traumatic. So you kind of understand
Right,
Sid's
right.
fear here and shaking off. And again, that's what I'm talking about the framing, where again you hear like you get like we're allowed to go pretty far. Where the head blocks the neck and we hear the crunch and the scream. Again, it's pretty accurate. That's all you need. Why can't Spider-Man learn from that? That's all you need. Okay, we don't need the little hand suckers. It's a vampire, for pity's sake. Anyway, so of course wakes up in a sweat. He's just kind of like trying to get the breathing regulated so he can kind of like kind of not panic in the day. Next morning in school, he's trying to calm himself, but then Stinky exhibiting some suspicious behavior, or at least in quotes suspicious. The real
I love how
suspicious
we
stuff is
literally
later.
never see these sunglasses on him ever again. It's
Never
literally
again.
just for
Well,
this one scene.
yeah, not these sunglasses. If he ever wore sunglasses, it was in that Stinky Goes Hollywood episode. That was like ages ago. So yeah, you're right. We never and why they're great shades, right?
Well, I don't know. I like that they're square. Is that it?
No. I'm saying like because Rhonda complimented him on the
Oh yeah,
shades.
right.
That's how you know they're great shades because she doesn't just do that willy nilly. Rhonda's up in all the trends.
Of course. Especially
Yeah.
for someone like Stinky.
Yeah, and again, she's been experienced in eyewear a little bit that we've never addressed again.
Right.
I think she switched. I think she actually switched the contacts. But anyway, well, she must have. So let's
Not
see. So
only
then,
does it keep the sunlight out of my sensitive eyes, but I think they make me look right snazzy.
yep. So then it's lunchtime. But
Oh,
Tiki, it's
God.
lunch. So no garlic bread for Stinky. We Petersons don't ever have any garlic bread.
Then
like,
the blood drive. I will admit the blood drive is like the first one where it's like, okay, this is kind of silly that he would be this into the blood drive.
but we have a great gag though of
We
why
have a
he's
good
so interested.
explanation for it via Arnold. So
Yeah, it was a little. You're right though. It was a little odd on first glance.
blood drives are my all-time favorite school function.
That I understand what sets you up.
Like I will admit that is a bit suspicious.
Right, let's see.
I mean,
So,
maybe that's just me. I hate needles and all that, but
well, as do I. I don't think anyone likes needles, except Pinhead, maybe.
heroin addicts.
Well, I don't think they like it though. I think it's kind of a necessity. But
Yeah.
all right, fine.
Maybe.
The heroin addicts can have their needles. Fine.
All right.
So,
I don't mean to bring the mood down with that.
well, you did.
It's
You-
on the
you
mind
did.
with Haunting of Hill House, much like a lot of other things that's seeping into my mind with that show. Anyways.
Anyway.
So let's see. So Atomic D said Sid can also be greedy, which is why he formed a mob when he thought Arnold stole the bag of money. Yep.
God. Sometimes here's the thing. Sid is nowhere near as bad as Iggy, but still Sid does have his Iggy moments like that, where it's like you just want to punch him sometimes. Like, Sid, come on.
And then Tom Beast makes the point, if all these horror episodes were real, that we'd have to count Ernie and Curly as really dead. Headless Cabby and Ghost Bride.
Yeah. Well, again,
by the way, Ernie, that cabbie thing, that's another kind of like, Ernie's a man who respects a side hustle.
That is true. He moonlights.
You know what, Dragon? At this point, it's canon to me that he had like he was like an extra in that movie. That is canon.
I'm going to add credence to your theory. Okay, you ready for this? You ready?
Yeah.
Okay, remember the Arnold Halloween episode when they're passing out the costumes. They're signing costumes. He was very insistent on being Frankenstein. Ergo, Ernie loves classic Universal horror.
Okay.
So he would die for a bit part in a Dracula movie.
Yeah, canon.
Literally, in the case of the cabbie. All right.
Now, if only we had an episode that explored that, like we did with Mr. Nguyen's country career.
When?
Nguyen, yeah, sorry.
Yeah. Right. No, you're right. Yeah. we did give Ernie like a dating episode though. That was kind of nice.
We did. It was very nice.
It's nice when we explore what Ernie does from time to time.
Uh-huh.
Okay, so all of this prompts Sid to tell Arnold, what's going on, and we have the classic where he pulls him into another room because Arnold's always like the magnet for people's troubles. The Jim Henson of PS 118.
Right.
All right, so basically Arnold's like writing it off very rational here, and then he says like, "What about the blood drive?" Well, he just likes it for the free cookies they give out.
That's a solid explanation.
I'd buy that for Stinky. Stinky would go through that just for the free cookies. So Sid goes to like so Sid's gonna prove this. So what does he do, Tiki? What book does he consult?
How to Prove Your Friend is a Vampire.
I love too in Hey Arnold, we constantly have this, and it's like an old
just
friend.
Like very convenient Uber specific books.
Not just that, but here's like the thing that's always been in Hey Arnold, but it's like an old friend when you get the experience it again. You hear the but you hear like just the acknowledgement in the score of like, yeah, it's convenient or it's a joke. Like,
this episode has a few of those moments. Yeah,
we always have like the jazzy version of but
right.
Rim shot. Okay, so to round it out here, so of course, we have like kind of a rule of three here. So the thing number one to look out for: reflections and photos. They don't show up in them. So this the one cracks me up the most. So, like an idiot, Sid doesn't look when he snaps the picture of Stinky, and he just assumes that nothing could have gone wrong there. He sees Stinky,
and he just assumes that Arnold was just gonna buy it. Like, yeah, I totally aimed the picture at him, and he wasn't there.
And he just runs to Arnold. He bugs Arnold while he's in the bathroom. Oh god, it's basically. I love that Arnold calls me. The only thing it proves that you don't know how to use a camera.
I love that Arnold is like particularly salty in this episode.
Yeah, and again, I mean, here's the thing. Like, I remember, I can't remember if season 5 is when we did that money episode. Atomic Beast was bringing up, but yeah, if I were Arnold, and we've done this time and time again, a majority of the Sid stories are Sid gets on Arnold's nerves.
Sure,
because he's a bit much. He really is. So yeah, maybe it's at this point it's like throwing his hands up there. You know what? I mean, I'm his friend, but a little much. You
All
know,
right, so this next one is the funniest one for me.
the fangs.
Yes, yes. it's just Arnold's reaction to it. It's like he's sneaking under the tables to get the sandwich, and, and he just holds it up to Arnold. Look, what do you think, Arnold? Pretty scary, huh?
So again, forensic odontology is not Sid's forte here. Just getting bite marks off a sandwich is really hard in itself, and it doesn't prove anything. He's like you still. We have, I think, the line of the episode. Where's my dang sandwich? Just really funny.
All right.
Then number three, transformation. Basically, you spy him going from human to transforming something, which is really, I don't know if that's proof, which is really something amiss. So, yeah, that's kind of the scene. Like, yeah, he's witnessed him transform into something. It's pretty suspicious. So he spies on Stinky. Stinky closes the curtain, and then when he doesn't see Stinky, bat flies by. And next day, he presents Arnold the bat, thinking
This is where the
that
episode just like really just ratchets it up to 11.
yeah, this is funny. He thinks that he's caught Stinky and put him in a cage to show the proof. And admittedly, there's a little bit of a hole in the episode here, but it's it's a miracle exception. You got to give it so we have a third act. So Arnold's making the very logical assumption. Well, he's out sick, so then he frees the bat from the cage. Now, Arnold, if you really wanted to convince Sid, just let him keep the bat. So when he sees, it's just like, okay, we're going to see Stinky after school. Bring the bat two places at once. Cannot.
Right, yeah.
But again, if he did that, then the episode would be 6 minutes, not 11 minutes, which would be a problem. So yeah. So anyway, so Sid, convinced at this point that he's going to go and get me now that he's been freed, I must eliminate him first. So Arnold's like had it. It's like, oh, okay, that's it. Okay, we're gonna visit him tonight, just to put an end to this once and for all. Like very much like in a very Bud Abbott-esque. Like, okay, I'm gonna show you once and for all. You're crazy.
All right, so here we go. This third act is just hilarious to me.
Oh, we have a comment.
Yeah. Let's see. Sid and others do get Arnold upset when Helga condemns Arnold for being a busybody. I think
That's
Arnold feels relieved that he's not taking responsibility anymore and enjoys them suffering. Yeah. Honestly, I can kind of relate to Arnold's plight because it's like I am also very much kind of like the guy who's like constantly trying to please people in my social life, and I kind of take the brunt of that as a result. Anyways,
right. Okay, so they're scoping out the place. Scoping out the place, and then we actually have some compelling suspicious activity from Sid. I mean, to Sid from Stinky. So we're at Stinky's place. We discover the compelling evidence. Okay, he's wearing a cape. He's seemingly biting into a goat. And again, I love how you see Arnold. Arnold's becoming puzzled. He's puzzled but skeptical still. Like, okay, there's got to be an explanation for this, even though yes, it is suspicious. Then we have the most darning evidence of all here: a very spookily lit coffin.
And to me, the line of the episode is, "Oh, that's the nail of the coffin, so to speak." And then the rim shot.
Yep. All right, so this is very telling. So Arnold wants to talk to Stinky versus Sid, who's going to go full Van Helsing for the third act.
Mm-hmm.
Just sneaking into the place with his vampire elimination stick, which is this always cracked me up. It makes no sense whatsoever, but it's so darn funny. Just the rubber.
Well, it's just a really funny way to get. It's like obviously if you had a real weapon that would not fly with the sensors.
Exactly. So that's the thing. Basically, it establishes to the kid he's like, okay, Stinky is in no real danger, so he's
right.
So we don't want. That's how we can get away with as much as we're getting away with. I'm sure it's like we can't have imitated. But I'm going to stab my friend. Stab your friends at home.
Oh God, exactly.
Buy this patent.
Yeah.
Buy this patented vampire elimination stick. Actual balsa.
All right.
Anyway, so we have this fun edit. This to me, I think, is where the timing you were speaking of really comes into play. I think we have some great editing between the fantastic and the mundane of Sid the Vampire Slayer in action, just clumsily like climbing up into the house, and and doing
Hi,
all this stuff.
Arnold. What brings you by at such an unreasonable hour?
So Arnold loops Stinky in, and it's like to get the atmosphere ratchet up. It's raining. It's the atmosphere's perfect, and he's battling a tailor mannequin, thinking it's Stinky.
Mm.
And it just like he slides down the banister and he falls like no flourish at all, no Errol Flynn for this guy. And then we have the in quote showdown,
Oh God.
where Sid has been so deluded he thinks since Arnold's like, no, look, he explained everything. Sid, you stop with this craziness. You've been hypnotized by his blood guzzling. He's a filthy blood guzzling fan. Now we have another great line of the episode, like, "Hey, all that ticked off. You can see Stinky is in the animation.
Yeah,
Hey,
yeah.
who are you calling a blood guzzling phantom?" So then we explain everything away.
Yeah, and these explanations are just so fucking silly.
They are. They're very kind of like End of Psycho kind of.
Oh,
It's like it's
just the
not a
cloak is just like his nightshirt, and all the Petersons wear them. It's just like the sunglasses thing. It's like we wear them to protect our delicate yet unusually large ears from the cold.
It's so funny.
So
then we have.
I mean, it's like if you look at the cloak, it doesn't even go up fully to his ears.
So then we have the goat, which is like, what about we saw him bite into a goat? It's his taxidermy.
We saw him
project.
maliciously bite into a goat. I love that word.
You're right. So anyways, it's his taxidermy project, and he was like biting a thread with his teeth off to the side. Norman Bates.
I saw a thread and I bit it off.
Off to the side, Norman Bates from Bates Motel's gives a thumbs up, like that checks out. I've done that. Right. So then we have now this one is the legit one that should legitimately be questioned.
Stupid.
Why? But what about the coffin? That's a legit question though. Like, what about the coffin? So apparently the coffin is a man-made kind of bumpkin version of a tanning bed, patent pending for the Petersons.
Oh my God. And again, Dragon, what I love about just the Peterson family just in general is just that it's such an odd mix of just like country bumpkin mixed with like idiot savant.
Yeah. You know, I like to think that Stinky's father, because he was so close to like a huge payout when Stinky was going to be a celebrity, he's like just trying to recapture it with like get rich quick schemes off to the side.
I can see that, yeah.
So I like to think. All right. So, anyways, after all, so Sid apologizes to Stinky and Arnold, and Arnold
you didn't say how he discovered it.
Oh yeah, you're right. I'm sorry. Yeah, you're right. So we have the definitive proof, which is as Stinky Stinky and Arnold are coming towards him, and basically they're okay. Look. Just turn around. Oh, that's sure. It's what you want me to do. No, just turn around. You can tell the performance. Arnold's just so fed up with Sid at this point. He just looks like such an idiot right now. Look behind. There's a mirror right behind you, you dope. Everyone in the audience right now is laughing at you, which is what they should do. So he looks. He says, okay, well, they got a reflection. There's proof positive. So he apologizes. You must think I'm a real dope. As Arnold gives us kind of this wonderful, with a grin on, it's like, pretty much, but it's okay, Sid. It's like, yeah, he's not
I
cut
love the delivery of Arnold, just like pretty much.
Yeah. Yep. So anything's
like he's not even gonna beat around the. It's like, yeah, you're an idiot.
Yeah. I've spent 5 seasons discovering this, but yeah, you're
like there's no real lesson to be learned here. It's just like, yeah, you're fucking dumb, Sid.
Pretty much, yeah. Yeah, when they were giving out brains, you got a double.
I mean, that is like, it's such a funny subversion of like Arnold usually trying to like see the best in people,
but he doesn't hate him for it. He just
he doesn't. Pretty much, you're right.
Just the fact that he said it's okay, Sid. Like we've established this.
You're dope, but you're our dope.
Yeah. All
right.
So then Sid apologizes to Stinky. On the way. Let's see. Stinky. Let's see. So Stinky is in his room later. So again, our guys leave. Arnold and Sid they leave the house, and then we have kind of our patented creepy Hey Arnold ending. Tiki, how's that creepy patented Hey Arnold ending go?
The vampire bat flies back in, and Stinky's basically just like, boy, you wouldn't believe the night I've had. These fellers actually accused me of being a vampire.
Well, where can you imagine they got an idea like that? And they're like, he's laughing. Ah, ha, ha, ha. And he has fangs and lightning and.
I mean, not the most effective stinger, but it's not really supposed to be a scary episode, so I'll give it a pass.
Yeah, and yet again, we just keep. I'm trying to think if there's a Hey Arnold ending where we didn't actualize what the scary thing was in some way, shape, or
I
form.
don't think so.
So I mean, technically, I think the only case where we didn't do that was
I mean, the
'cause
fucking Emily Dickinson statue.
Oh, that does not count. Doesn't count.
I know.
But like I think the cousin Arnie episode's probably that one's still kind of on the
Oh my
fringes if it
God.
counts. But I mean, for us it counts. I don't know if it would
For me,
officially
that
count.
absolutely counts.
That's what I'm saying. Is I'd be like, if that's the case, then I think that might be the only exceptions. I can't remember the creepy stinger at the end per se.
I don't think there was one. I think it was literally just like the Helga thing.
Like Wheezing Ed, we heard the wheezing at the end, like the hacking up the bone. So we kind of teased up, okay, that threat's real. 4-Eye Jack, absolutely real. We saw the ghost, like it's all been real.
Sure.
At least in quotes. All right, that's all she wrote.
Okay. All right. Well, let's wrap it up.
Yeah, let's thank the folks for tuning in.
Okay. Yeah. Well, obviously, big thanks to Atomic Beast, man. You rock. Glad to have you on board.
Yeah.
And that's about it.
All right.
Well, folks, that ends tonight's spooky selection, and our spirits grow weary. But don't worry, they'll be stronger than ever next time as we engage in even more haunted holiday hijinks.
Where's my dang sandwich?